You promised me proper food, and what do I get? God, what is this? Some kind of a joke? Another test? Another stupid game? What?
What would you like it to be?
Will you stop talking in riddles?
Okay, calm down. What makes you think it's chocolate?
Well, it looks like chocolate, and it smells like chocolate. Not chocolate?
No. Proteins, carbohydrates, fats, essential vitamins and minerals disguised as chocolate, therefore appealing to the younger palate. Think of it as a life force bar. You'll never need to slave in the kitchen again.
Well, I suppose it's different then.
Disappointed?
No, why? Should I be?
No, except you seem to be enjoying having a good old rant. As a spectator sport, I'd give it 3 out of 10.
I'm just trying to protect my people.
I know. And I admire your gusto.
Welcome to Series 4, Episode 15 of Conversation on Eagle Mountain, our podcast about the tribe. I'm your host, Lance, and joining the podcast panel today is Liz.
Hello.
Sabine.
Hi.
And a warm welcome back to Karlan.
Hey, what's going on?
With episode notes done by Matt and myself. So Series 4, Episode 15. The screenplay was done by Marie McNeil. It was directed by Colin McCall, and the episode synopsis read out by Karlan.
The contents of a Techno food supply delivery leaves Ebony and the Mallrats confused, while Ram takes Jay to task for authorizing the distribution. Pride hunts for a cure for Lex's toothache, but has an ulterior motive.
Okay, let's jump straight into the episode. So, as the Technos bring food into the city, Dee starts to think that maybe they're not all bad.
You forgetting kids keep on being taken?
We don't know for sure that Charlie was taken by the Technos.
Then who took him?
Lots of our friends are gone. We've got to think about the ones who are here. Like Mouse. Look around, Lex. What do you see? Kids, positive, friendly, well-behaved. Could be less hassle for us.
I want nothing to do with them.
Does that go for all of them? Or just the men?
So yeah, generally, how do you feel about the new concept of the tea bars? And is Dee right that there is nothing wrong with accepting food from the enemy because it looks after the surviving kids that are left behind?
Honestly, I don't really have issues with the concept of the tea bars. Every time I see them, I think, okay, so meal replacement crap. But, you know, they're not wrong in saying if they manage to have them containing the nutrients, then yeah, why not? It's better than going hungry. It's better than not getting the nutrients. And as for D, yeah, honestly, what other choice do they have? The city is in chaos. There's constant fighting over food. Yeah, these Technos aren't really going anywhere, so why not? Why not accept this?
Mm-hmm.
I think if the season had was better written overall, then yeah, that mind frame of being like, look, this is just our reality. We got to take the good that we can get. We got to focus on maintaining what's left. Wouldn't bother me so much, but I just think it's all been so poorly written up to this point. It felt too meta. Literally, this conversation, Lex is mad. He's upset. Rightfully so, because at the moment, they're dealing with the fact that one of their own people has disappeared out of the mall and they suspect that the Technos took him. And so why would, you can see why he'd be feeling like, I don't really want to deal with these people. I suspect that they're, and I know they took my wife, blah, blah, blah. And you have, Dee telling him, well, Mouse is still here. It's literally the show telling the audience, who cares who's gone? Can you please just focus on who we still have left in the cast? This is the reality. Stop moaning about the people that are gone. Stop hoping they'll come back because they're not. And just like who we have left. That's what it felt like, a little too much. Because it was just too cavalier. Like the focus of, yes, Charlie may have been taken. We don't know if he was taken, but let's just focus on the fact that Mouse is still here. And it also doesn't work because it's like, Lex, you have a problem with the Technos taking Charlie. You're sleeping with a Techno who took your wife. Like, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like, oh, this conversation just feels like they're yelling at the audience. Stop being upset about everybody who's gone.
That's right. He is sleeping with a techno.
Mhm.
And I do like that Dee calls him on that. Like, is that
Yeah.
all the Technos or just the men? And he's got no answer for that. And I'm like, yeah, I want to know that too, Lex. Because your self-righteous anger doesn't matter. And again, they've been doing this since season 1. When you want Lex to say something that actually makes sense, like, or you want someone you give it to Lex, who's the last person who has any right to be saying it. So we're not going to take it seriously. And I'm with Sabine. I don't really care about the T-bars all that much. I don't like how they act like they invented the concept, like considering that, these meal replacement, bars, all that stuff have always existed since like the dawn of time. So, but, there's plenty of things that would have existed before the virus that these kids would have been familiar with that were similar. And that's my only gripe, is acting as though they've never heard of the concept that you could eat a protein bar, and it would be good for you or something.
To
But
be
otherwise,
fair,
Open to
whatever.
schools.
honestly, to be fair, when the tribe aired, I don't think I ever heard of protein bars, as they didn't sell them here.
Yeah, well, older people know they exist. And
Yeah, but it just wasn't something that was around. Here, it's like they didn't have the meal replacement stuff everywhere yet.
I mean, yeah, you're right. They didn't have like the whole meal replacement kind of
Yeah.
genre of food exploding, but they did have like protein bars and stuff around. Like even from the wars, they had those specially ready-made concrete meals to boost the soldiers and stuff. So it's like it's been around.
Yeah,
but it's
fair
not
enough for that. Yeah.
unknown.
But it's more
But,
like the average teenager. Would they have run into them? Would they realize that could be
true.
it?
And with these teenagers, yeah. I think it's just the way it was presented. I do agree. It is presented weirdly, as if it was just created on the spot by these technos.
Yeah, no. That's,
I mean,
no way.
even ignoring how it was all manufactured and processed and packaged and sent here, ignoring all that bit, I think what
personal
really,
branding.
yeah.
We can't ignore that. I think that's
So-
incredible.
I mean, we have to kind of, because there's a whole backstory there. But what actually really annoys me about this scene is the consequences. Because once you start like suddenly giving these food out for free into the city, what does this mean for traders? What does this mean for the kids? Like the whole monetary society here that's been set up, and it's not really ever addressed, as far as I'm aware. That kind of annoys me. That's just not referenced at all.
When I initially saw this scene, I was just thinking that this is Stockholm syndrome, like the beginning stages of them just like literally keeping these kids like as slaves, or at least most of them. And then now you're just releasing food to them to just let you know that they should be dependent on you and not look at you as like such a bad, person or whatever. That's the initial thing that I thought. Second thing is the packaging, like them making the food and stuff like that. I don't know why, but I find that a lot more impressive than making like The Matrix, that video game that they have, Paradise. Because again, I don't know if they ever said that this is like just old food that they found and they just repackaged, or they're literally just made it with the technology that they have. If they made it from scratch and able to like do everything they did to it, I think that's like super incredible, and it shouldn't be overlooked in this world.
That's just another way that they are dumbing down the audience, because they expect the audience not to think about that. They're expecting an audience to, one, never have heard of protein bars or meal replacements. And they're also expecting an audience to never consider, how the heck is this stuff being manufactured? Because this implies you have a plant somewhere where this stuff is being manufactured, the packaging, everything. And so it's all about expecting an audience to not think about it. And as Sabine said, she didn't, so it worked.
Right. And then also I want to throw in, the Mallrats were worried that they took Charlie. I was so happy that Charlie was taken. I can't stand Charlie. There's a handful of characters in season 4 that are on my list for like, I do not care about you. Charlie's definitely one of them.
He didn't have a chance. He actually had, what was it, 3 episodes?
Thank goodness. Out of all the characters that we've ever seen on this show that have just been taken or just quickly written off that are like to be upset about, I was actually happy that Charlie got written off. It's the one thing I can agree with.
Somehow I'm not surprised with that answer.
Yeah.
Well, he mentioned it back in like season 1.
Mhm.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
understandable because he wasn't around long. He didn't have much of an impact. So
I already forgotten about him.
But at least they mention him in this episode. It's not like he vanished and we don't even mention him in the next episode anymore.
I appreciate that. I actually really did. That it wasn't suddenly forgotten. It has happened most times. The next episode, actually, you have him remembering and mentioning.
Yeah,
his name.
let's give them praise for doing the bare minimum.
Mhm. With the standards
Poor
we hold
Paul.
them to right now, yeah.
Like Pride was more concerned about that mouse's safety than he was about the child it's been named after that's gone missing.
But that's how it goes in this world. We don't care about missing children.
Yeah, they don't. And that's another reason why I don't like the city as a whole. But I guess that's like a whole nother topic.
Okay, let's move on to the girl chat because still spatting with Salene, Cloe turns to Dee and asks her about her first time having sex.
Chloe, if you're new to the game, then don't do it unless you want to. You've got to be sure.
I am sure. He makes me laugh.
Clowns make you laugh, but you don't have to sleep with them.
And it's here that we learn that Dee's experience was pre-virus, and she tells Chloe that she must be sure if she wants to take things further with Fed. So yeah, what did you make of this conversation and Chloe's maturing storyline?
At least someone bothered.
They've had better versions of this conversation in the past, so it didn't stand out to me as anything unique or special. It's not very deep. It's the bare minimum of the conversation. Dee's I like what Dee had to say in it, but otherwise I don't care.
It's sad because I just keep thinking back to season 1 and how the conversation was done and presented so much better between the girls. And like, it's just like not even the bare minimum here. Like, yeah, I just keep thinking back to season 1. Just done better elsewhere.
I'm literally at the point where I'm just like, go for it, Chloe. What have you got to lose? Who cares? Like, who gives a crap? It's not that deep. Just do it. Like, there's no real consequence if you do. Like, this isn't a deep season, so have fun. Like, just go for it. I don't care.
That's the thing, yeah. Like, Dee doesn't even say like, "Oh, she just says, oh, make sure." But like, why make sure? Like, give more advice, give more deeper meaning to like why Chloe should really think about this. Because there is none of that intricacy that we've had before. So like, why should we care? Kind of thing, yeah.
Chloe doesn't even discuss what her concerns about it are.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know what she's worried about, what she's scared about. Like, again, going back to season 1 or something, or even season 2, and Ellie's talking to her sister about this sort of stuff. They actually confirm the things they're concerned about, the things they're aware about, the things they're not aware about. Sometimes it's, will it hurt? What if he dumps me? What if I get pregnant? There's actual concerns about the consequences of doing this. What if it turns out he didn't really care about me or whatever? What's your genuine concerns about young women in a purity culture that tells them they need to prize this part of themselves and it's something to give away and you can't give it away lightly, and those are the concerns you have. We don't know what Chloe's worried about, so why should we care what she gives to Ved? She's not even concerned about causing conflict between his tribe and her tribe. Like, we have no clue what Chloe is worried about. So does it really matter? Like, what are the stakes here?
Mm-hmm.
So the only thing Dee can tell her is, hey, just only do it if you really want to. That's it. There's no consequences to worry about. Dee doesn't mention any consequences either. So
No.
I guess there wasn't really anyone else for her to turn to, though.
I don't have a problem with it being Dee. Like, that's fine. Like, Dee's fine for her to talk to. I'm talking about the conversation itself is so lame. Who cares? It doesn't matter, you know what I mean, what's being said, because it's a very poorly done conversation. It doesn't give us a reason to be invested in whether Chloe does this. And so.
Yeah, I completely agree. The conversation was just, one was boring, awfully written, and then I don't know. I think it's a just a huge disappointment because I do think that one of the best story arcs, if not the best story arc for me personally, is Chloe's journey. Because throughout most of the series, we've seen her as just this innocent kid, or at least that's what the Mallrats treated her as. And then now we can finally see her handle more adult situations. But yeah, it's kind of a shame that they only did this kind of writing for it. So I don't know. And it's also kind of funny. I guess also kind of funny that it's kind of like foreshadowing something that happens, I guess, later in episodes, that when we talk about it with the actress and whatnot. So I don't know. I always think about that too when this conversation happens.
Yeah, nobody warned this kid.
No, but you know what? I've had people like DM me saying that season 4 is their favorite season because it's like the first ever season that they watch. And then they went back to watch the rest. So I think that's, I mean, I don't want to say that, but I think that's probably the only group of Tribe fans that you can think who actually love season 4, like their first exposure to it.
Yeah, they're rare, but there are a few of them.
Right. Yeah. And I don't think season 4 is terrible. I do think there is actually a decent story that's trying to be told, but a lot of it just doesn't mean as much as it should with most of the cast, like the original cast gone, and little explanation to why they're gone. It kind of kills it a little bit.
Yeah, I think we were saying on the last podcast, like the Technos are the protagonists here. If you just push the Mallrats out of the way, then you'd have a good Techno story. But if you forget all the Mallrats, but yeah.
Ooh, that's a good idea. Oh, that would actually have been really cool. Kind of like what they did for the New Tomorrow. But like, forget the kids. Like, I hate that they keep focusing on children for this. Forget the kids and just focus on a whole new tribe or like the Technos or whatever.
Yeah, if this was a spin-off, that would have been good. It would have been fine, but
would have been great.
Yeah, sticking with the Technos, Ram is unhappy that the T-bars have been distributed to Virts and demands that Jay explain himself.
We were under attack from the city. We had casualties.
So?
So I was trying to offer them an olive branch. Ram, what do you want? A peaceful takeover or a war?
You had no right to give them our stockpile. You should have zapped them into submission.
And given them a clear enemy? That's not the way. What do you want? A healthy backup pool of workers? Or half-starved, zapped-out wretches?
You should have consulted me.
He implies that Ram is too absorbed in virtual reality, but also says that his actions haven't got in the way of Ram's actual goals. So yeah, what do you make of Jay's arguments to Ram here?
I liked this conversation. It's one of the few. Then again, at this point, the Technos are the most interesting thing that's going on. I liked the dance between them. I like the implication that you just don't know what you're going to get out of Ram based on his mood. If he's in a good mood, he looks favorably on basically anything you've done. And if he's in a bad mood, like, it doesn't really matter what you did or the logic behind it. He's just going to be upset that you did it, you know? So I like that bit of information about him. I like this. It's very clear that Jay and Ram have very different agendas, and that adds more to why he's working with the Technos, but seems to disdain everything about them for the most part, but is willing to go as far as he does to defend them, protect them. It's a nice character beat for both of them. And I thought there was a reasonable amount of tension there, because Ram is just so unpredictable, and it would be nerve-wracking having to work with somebody like that. Because I get, what Jay's making very cogent arguments as to why he did this, and it doesn't seem like it should be so upsetting. You don't really know why Ram is so upset, more than I didn't know what was going on. You went above my head to do it, and that's the problem. And it does make you wonder, okay, so Jay, what is your goal? Why are you working with this person when neither of you ever seem to be on the same page about what you are trying to accomplish? So I just liked that. That was some interesting character dynamics happening there, and having to tiptoe around this bear with a sore paw all the time in, like, for your own personal agenda. And it's like, okay, so what's Jay's agenda and what's Ram's? So I liked it.
Yeah, it's just nice to see, because it's not all the same to them. They're not all the same in their vision. And it does make me wonder what Jay is up to. Why is he here? Why did he join them? And on the other hand, from Ram, this whole debacle about the boxes of T-bars makes me wonder if he's afraid that they won't have enough for themselves. Because he's acting like, okay, you're handing out stuff of my private property. How dare you? So this whole scene made me want to know more. Just more details about what was actually going on in both of their heads.
Am I the only one that feels like Ram is such a narcissist that he's like only upset that he didn't think of the idea to like more control the city? Like again, like just Stockholm syndrome kind of thing. Because yeah,
definitely does.
yeah.
Sorry, I was going to say I agree with you. Like I do think there is something there that what he's upset about isn't so much Jay's decision. It's more that it didn't come from him. It didn't come from the top down. He always wants his technos to remember it ends with him, and he doesn't like them taking too much initiative of their own unless he's in a good mood. Then it's fine.
Exactly. Yeah. And again, I think that's the biggest thing too. Like his mood. He is, again, you mentioned it. He's so unpredictable. He has such crazy mood swings. I would honestly say Mouse is a little bit more mature than Ram. So I think that's honestly what makes him such a dangerous enemy, because you don't know what he's thinking. You don't know what type of temper tantrums he's on. And sometimes he can be very ruthless, when he's being very immature. So yeah, again, that just makes him such a great character. But as far as this whole situation, yeah, he's being narcissistic a little bit. He just wants credit for it. I really do want his chair though.
Oh, don't get me started on that chair. I hate that chair.
I want it.
Okay, I was going to bring it up. Did you guys like the direction of that scene with him constantly spinning around in the chair?
No, I didn't.
I love it. I love anything with Ram spinning in the chair. I mentioned in my videos, it's like a Darth Vader thing. You know how Darth Vader has like that chill breath, or that noise. For Ram, it's just like just moving in the chair. Like it's him. He's coming. I don't know. I like it's his own little thing.
It's definitely a stylistic choice. Yeah.
He's supposed, like, if you live in a city and someone tells you about Ram and like how he has all this technology, he controls these people, and like the ruthless things that he's done, you would think he's just this menacing human being, like the most like Voldemort in a sense. But then when you see him and you see the chair and you hear the squeaky noise, it's like downright hilarious. But it's his own little thing, so I love it.
Do you think in a way that's why it was directed in that way? Like almost like he's like stomping, pacing back and forth, but like obviously sitting around his chair.
I think that's what they're going for with his movements and the fact that he's constantly moving. If he, could walk, he would be pacing. He would be circling people because it's an intimidation form of action, to circle people, to, and they have to stand at attention. So you can be at their back, you can be over their shoulder, and you have to stay eyes front, and never knowing what are they going to do. And that's nerve-wracking, especially in any abusive relationship. You don't want that person at your back. You never know if they're going to put a hand on you. You can't protect your back, And so, yeah, I mean, maybe that's what they were going for. That's something he would definitely do if he could walk. He would pace the room. He would, constantly create tension between the distance between you, him moving in, moving away, and he's got the chair, and so maybe that's what they were trying to replicate.
Right.
And I don't think it comes across very well, but maybe that's what they were going for.
Right, yeah. And also maybe a fan theory, maybe his chair is just broken. He can't stop it sometimes. He can't fix it. And it's like his greatest
one thing he can't fix.
It's his greatest mission. Like he's like, I made virtual reality, I made the technos, but I can't fix this damn chair.
Oh, now I'm just picturing that the chair, it just has a mind of its own, so he has to disguise the fact that it's always
Oh, wait.
That it was purposeful constantly.
Wait, fan theory. Okay, check this out. I literally just thought about this. All right, so we all know like Ved and like, well, maybe not Ved, but we all know like Chloe got stuck in like virtual reality and like her mind's in there, right? What if somebody in the past did something horrible to Ram. So then he put them not only in virtual reality, but their mind and their consciousness, he put them in the chair.
Oh God.
Like the actual electronics in the chair. And whenever the chair like geeks out and starts like going crazy, that's that person trying to like refuse Ram and trying to like just piss him off.
This is what I get for encouraging you. Ah!
It makes sense.
You knew it was coming.
It makes a lot more sense than the shack room, which I talked about in the last episode.
Oh man.
You should try homeopathy.
Homie, what?
Herbal medicine. Might ease the pain.
Quack, quack. What kind?
Well, an infusion of cloves? Or myrtle and sage, that might work.
What? Get real.
It's just a suggestion.
Oh, and I suppose these things just grow on the side of the road.
Yes, they do, actually.
Yeah, how do you feel about Pride and Salene? And yeah, the new Charlie.
There's just a lot in here that I feel that this is written for someone who was never familiar with anything else that ever happened in the show. It felt like you've never seen any other season. You've never seen Pride or Salene in another season, or Lex. Pride talks to Lex about medicinal medicine as though Lex has never heard of it. Okay, he's been taking Tysan's tonics since before they even fell in love. You know what I mean? Like, it was a thing. It's what she did. Everybody knew she was the tribe guru. She was the herbalist. Even if he didn't want to take it, it's not like he's never heard of the freaking concept, okay? In fact, it'd be more in line if Lex actually asked Pride if he had anything. You know, like, Tysan used to give me this, whatever, when I had like a headache or a hangover. Do you have any pain reliever? Because I have a sore tooth. That would make more sense for Lex to say than to look at him like, what are you talking about? Herbs? What are herbs? Never heard of them. You know what I mean? And the way Pride's talking to him as if he doesn't know Lex was married to Tysan, who did this stuff. Like, Pride, did you not meet her? Did you? Are you not aware?
That's so true.
Okay. So that's just that for wrote that. Okay, we got a new writer. That's right.
It's a new writer.
She's not aware of their past. So there's just that. That's annoying. Same thing.
Someone should have informed her, though.
Yeah, like someone should have looked over that and said, actually, this wouldn't work because such and such. Then you've got Little Mouse, and they act like this is the first time a rodent has ever been caught in this mall. Even like Selene's reaction, like, oh, that's unsanitary. Bish, your hubby literally gave your daughter a rat in a cage. You guys used him as pets. What are you talking about? A mouse in a jar is unsanitary. Like, are you kidding me? How long have you lived in this mall?
She eat in the sewers.
She did!
I mean, they had a whole little farm with the pigs and the hens and the cows. Come on.
Right? Are you kidding me? This little mouse in a fishbowl is unsanitary? Like, it just really felt like someone who has no idea how things have been in this mall writing these characters. And again, I don't care for the lack of investment in Mouse's brother being missing and having nothing to say and doing nothing about it. She's like, I miss my brother. And Selene's like, yeah, it's too bad. I bet you do.
I've lost my kids' siblings before.
She's like, you're not the first little girl who's had to say that to me.
Oh no, it's awful.
It's like, Betsy managed, why can't you?
Right?
She shut up about it.
It's the whole scene. I'm just like, no, I don't care for any of this, to be honest. So, just like, who is this for? Somebody needed to go over this and tell the writer, I get what you're going for, but this definitely needs a rewrite because the history of these people. Yeah.
Tysan made the freaking cure.
Sabine just said it best. Tysan literally made the cure to the virus.
Yes, with
No one's
Ginger.
impressed with your herbicide line. I'm sorry. Nobody cares.
But yeah, like I don't know how the writing department can't.
All elements you can find at your local grocery store. I made a video on this.
You know where your wife used to get those things. Come on. She made you guys help with
You guys
gathering
have to
it.
go picking for these herbs to save lives. This is not new information, Lex.
Yeah.
That's
but
what I
she
mean.
tried to
Why isn't
sell
the
those
writing department
herbs.
picking this up?
It's so annoying.
Lack of care. I don't know. Again, it's written as a sense of not expecting the audience to ask any questions or think about it,
Or
I guess.
it just
Yeah.
feels written for people who never saw season 1 to 3.
Yeah, the writing's weird.
Only when they want to fall back on some nostalgia.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't do that. You can't pick and choose when you're going to care about the previous seasons and the lore. You got to be consistent with it.
I think I saw something that was like, well, I remember seeing like a BTS, and again, it wasn't like season 4, but a BTS of one of the seasons of the tribe. And I remember one of the actors were saying like they have like a writer's room, and there are actors like literally writing like the next episode or like maybe even changes to the script like as they were like filming that exact episode or whatever. So I would imagine that's what happened across season 4, and maybe they got writers that are just like new, never seen the show, and they have to like write something, which is like terrible. But that's like my only guess on why the continuity is so bad.
but
But even then, there should have been like, senior producers who's been there since day one that should have caught that and changed it.
That's the issue. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not a problem that they're new blood coming in writing it. The problem is where's the senior overseers like checking these scripts and the continuity? Like,
yeah, it's pretty bad. And then as far as Salene and Pride, again, I hate season 4 Pride. I feel like this relationship is only entertaining when there's like a third element, and that third element was what's her name?
Mouse.
May.
Yeah, May. Yeah, whole dynamic with being there, kind of like as a love triangle. That's what made it interesting to me. But yeah, the fact that she's not here, it's kind of like whatever.
I think I don't want to encourage you, all right? Do not take this and run free with it. I'm just saying that I think you may have something there because I felt the same way just in this scene alone with them. I didn't care about the interactions that were happening between Salene and Pride. I don't hate them or anything like that. I just don't care. I'm completely indifferent to whatever happens between them. It only became interesting and entertaining, like a fun dynamic when it turned out Mouse had been following them. I thought that was cute. There was something, but otherwise, up until that moment, I did not care. I didn't care about their conversation. I didn't care about the flirtation. I was just like, Pride, I thought you told this woman you didn't want a relationship because you didn't want to disappoint her. And all you're doing today is trying to get in her pants. Like, it's literally all you're doing. Okay. I would, I'm supposed to care, but I don't. And I only kind of clocked in when Mouse showed up and I was like, oh, that's adorable. You know what I mean? Like, their conversation became a little lighter and a little fun. But maybe there is something to it that there's nothing really holding their relationship together unless they can find some kind of thing to keep them apart, something to separate them. That's where the entertainment value comes from. So whether it's, we keep getting interrupted by a child, so we can't be alone, or there's a teenager who's mad at the both of us because she likes him, or he gets addicted to video games, you know what I mean? Like there's just got to be something that causes a pull between them before they seem interesting together. And I don't know if that's just the writing or the actors, because it's not like they're not trying. I mean, Nick is really laying it on. He's being his most bedroom eyes self with Salene, so it's not a lack of trying to have chemistry. Maybe it's just the writing. It's not interesting.
Again, if May was here, it'd be such a better dynamic because she'll be like, "You don't look at me that way. Like you don't pick dandelions for me."
Like I was more invested in Pride and May, not because I thought they were some great couple, but I was just more invested in the conflicts between them than I am in him sliding into Selene's DMs.
But is that just the chemistry though, or just the level of fed up we were with Salene attempting to date.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what it is because I don't think the actors aren't trying, or anything like that. I just don't care. I mean, part of me just wants to tell Salene, girl, just don't even. I mean, hit it if you want to. He's a good-looking boy, but don't waste your energy on this.
You just advise Salene to hit it and quit it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she deserves to have some fun. Why not? You know what I mean? Since day one, she's treated everything like it's, that young, it's got to be forever or not. And it's like, girl, you might have some fun if you just had some fun and said, boy, bye, thank you, and thank you next. Like, she might actually enjoy that. Give it a shot.
YOLO.
Exactly. Stop trying to marry these men. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe then they wouldn't run away.
Sabine. I've never liked Pride and Salene. I think it's part a chemistry thing, part their relationship and their discussions and connection with one another. It's never fitted for me. But yeah, to each their own. Yeah, literally nothing else to say. Okay.
I miss Bray.
Yay!
Yeah.
Thank you.
Dude, Karlan, I was 2 episodes in when I was like, I'm so sorry, Bray. I was too hard on you. Come back!
If only they can just keep re-showing that season 3 clip of him, like in that van.
No, but that would distract us from Jay, and we have to view Jay as the new Bray now. So he's our new savior. So.
Wait, you said Jay's a new savior?
We're supposed to see him as that.
No. Oh, you mean like the new sex symbol?
The boy who saves us all.
I was saying it before the podcast. Like when I was like going through the episode, I just clicked on a random freeze frame, and I just saw his face, and he had the look of a man on the mission to sleep with every attractive woman you can find.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing will stop him.
Hey, he certainly makes a good attempt in the show.
You gotta catch them all.
Oh, he makes a legendary attempt. I'm surprised there's not any like Techno condoms that they try to give out to the city. Who knows?
Honestly, I don't get why Ram didn't think of that.
Techno condoms?
Mm-hmm. Maybe he assumed the outfits were enough.
Yeah, well, they never talk about, like, I would imagine, like, obviously from what we see, like, food disparity is, like, a huge problem. Like, shelter is a huge problem in the city. But I'm pretty sure, like, people having babies at, like, alarming rates would probably be, like, up there, too. Especially, like, underage, pregnancy, so...
Is there such a thing as off-age pregnancy right now?
Yeah, true. But yeah, the Techno condoms, they would have went double platinum in the streets. Double platinum. Oh wait, Amber has a baby, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she need one of those.
It's not human, but it does qualify as an infant something.
It's not human?
Not with that gestational period.
What theory are you cooking up right now?
We don't know what she had, but it is an infant of its kind.
E.T. phoned home.
That thing cooked for barely 3 months.
All right, that brings us to our final thoughts of the episode. So whilst Jay continues to rebuff Java, she responds by making a veiled threat about what Ram would think if he knew Ved had been out with Cloe.
Jay, did you hear the one about your little brother Ved? He's been flirting with a virt. Or perhaps you knew? Seems his illegal buggy ride was in the company of a sassy little chick called Cloe. And my, did they have fun. Big fun. I wonder what our great leader would say about that.
Jay confronts his brother about this, who assures him that he's just messing around and that Cloe means absolutely nothing to him. While back at the mall, Cloe sits doodling hearts as she thinks about Ved. So yeah, what do you think of Java's meddling, and do you believe Ved was telling the truth to Jay?
Damn it, Ved, once again being one of the more interesting characters where I give a crap of what's going on in your head. Especially when you counter it with Cloe, who I don't care what's going on in her head because they haven't given her anything that's going on in her head. That's actually a really nice setup. Ved has already got gotten it out of the way that yes, I took a buggy, and he managed to tell Ram that when he was in a good mood, so he got off. But now it's like, oh, but he wasn't alone. He took out a virt. And of course, now his brother's on him again, like, oh, what are you doing? I don't want you to get in trouble. And even Ved knows, yeah, that is something I left out, and Ram might be upset about that, I like all of that. And then, you're left wondering, is it true? Like, does he actually like her? Because there's enough of his behavior to show that if he didn't like her, he wouldn't be going through all this trouble for one little girl who embarrassed him in the bar. If he didn't like her, he'd have nothing to do with her. He'd stay away from her. But he's going out of his way to chase her down, try to get on good terms with her, try to show her a personally good time. He's trying to impress her. Those are not the actions of a boy who just doesn't care or doesn't like her seriously. So that's all very fascinating. And again, when you contrast that with him saying, oh no, I'm just having fun with her, and you've got Cloe who's literally writing his name in books, he makes this far more interesting than Cloe ever could, because again, they haven't given Cloe anything of depth in this situation. Her reasons for being interested don't have any depth. Her conflicts don't, but Ved's do. Ved actually has a conflict. And so, damn it, Ved, I hate you. Stop making me like you. This is annoying. It's very annoying.
Yeah, it is. All the characters we used to like, we hate now. Characters we love to hate seem like the better options now. Yeah, for me, it feels like Ved's just claiming that Cloe means nothing to him because he knows Ram's temper. He doesn't want this information to get back to him because that's actually something that could be used against him. Like, he has a weakness now. Cloe is his weakness. He doesn't want people to know that. So there's no way Ved is going to tell them that, yeah, this girl, I like her, I really like her. Especially not to his big brother. But yeah, I don't know, it just feels to me like Ved's protecting Cloe with this. And himself.
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely seems like he's protecting her. And I do love this this relationship that Cloe and Ved have. It just reminds me so much of an awkward teenage love. Like they're both very new at it. They don't really know what they're doing, and it kind of shows. So that's what I like about it. But yeah, I mean, I agree with Liz. I mean, Ved is getting some strong writing here. It's hard to deny that he's one of the better characters this season. And unfortunately, it's a lot better than what we're getting from Pride, Salene. Oh goodness, I hate to even say it, but maybe even like Ebony too. But this is season 4 for you.
I was just thinking, is this the best season 4 relationship? And I think I would say yeah.
Yeah.
Chloe and Ved are definitely the most intriguing relationship that we get. What would you class as higher?
Season 4 relationship.
Well, you guys know I'm a Jay Ebony shipper.
Ugh.
And so in season 4, most of it alone, I'm rooting for them. It's when Jay takes his shift into, okay, I see what you're doing there. But in the beginning, I'm all for those guys. For me, they were the best and the most convincing, awful people falling for each other. I was like, oh, finally, Ebony is gonna find a man who's just what she should have, and she could be happy instead of being with some guy who's trying to make her into something else, Just someone who's like, look, we're both terrible people, we both do terrible things, and we both justify it to ourselves because we're both narcissists, you know what I mean? And like, I just thought that was great. I loved that, and I was genuinely rooting for them until the show was like, oh no, we're saving him for somebody else.
Ebony and Bray are just ugh, no. I never liked that relationship.
Ebony and Bray? You love
excuse me.
Ebony and Bray.
Ebony and Jay. Yeah, they all rhyme.
Wait a second, buddy.
Yeah, they all rhyme. Ebony and Bray is number 1. Yeah, season 4 relationships. I don't even know because Pride and Salene never did it for me. Patch and D. That was. I can't hate on it, but I don't like it either. But Yeah, I don't know. We don't have much to work with. We don't have much to work with. It's really just attractive people just liking each other. Oh, you know what? I do really like Siva and Lex. I really like that. I like that a little bit more. But I think I just like that because of all the baggage Siva was carrying.
Mm-hmm.
And I shouldn't have brought Tyson back. But I kind of liked it because it kind of resembled the whole like how to move on like after you lose a loved one, because you know there are people out there who've lost like multiple partners and stuff like that, and then how Lex genuinely fell for Siva. It was just nice to see. It was wholesome, and them trying to make it work, even with both of their past. So I like that one. That's my number one. And of course, like Ved and Chloe are like really good too, but that never flourished. We never got to see the end game of that.
No, that's fair. And yeah, just generally like Java coming on to Jay. What did you make of that part?
Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. It's like they don't know what Java wants. And so when you take the culmination of all of Java's actions through 2 seasons or 1.5 seasons, it doesn't make any sense what Java was going for. What was the goal? Because this whole spat is making it seem like it's Jay. She wants out of the relationship with Ram, but they're going to do an Uno reverse card on all of this stuff. And so I don't even know what to think. Like, in its own bubble, I don't have a problem with her wanting Jay, especially when she's already confessed that she wants a real man, and she doesn't consider Ram that. And a man she can genuinely be with, not in a virtual world, but in the physical world. She wants to get some, okay? And Ram won't even let the girls touch him without going on about germs, So I'm like okay with it just in its own box, but as the story progresses, it makes less and less sense.
100% with you, yeah. I'm not even sure why it's here, because where they take it is like, what was the point? It's like, oh, it was Ram all along, but was it? Like,
when they tried to do that, I was like, oh, don't you dare. Don't you dare. You just want someone to give a crap when she dies.
Yeah, like,
well, that it.
But why on earth would we care if she dies?
Like, we might have if you'd been consistent with her character. Then we would be like, oh, what a tragedy, But you didn't bother. They were just all over the map with her. Java's like main purpose is to be an obstacle for Ebony. To just always be in the way of whatever Ebony's goal is. If being with Jay would make Ebony happy, Java's got to be the obstacle. You know what I mean? If getting away from Ram is what Ebony wants, Java's got to be the obstacle. On and on and on. That's all she is until it's like, oh, okay, well, Ebony's doing her own thing. It's just on and on. That's all Java does. And she deserved better. The actress deserved so much better than what was done with her character. Because when it all comes together, she makes no sense. And that's why nobody cares when she keeled over.
Yeah. Sadly true.
You also think that maybe it seems like she wants just whatever Ebony wants?
They could have been more consistent with that. Her basically, her only character motive is, I don't want my little sister to have anything nice.
Yeah.
That's it. That's her personality. And it's like, people are more than that, But that's just all she is. But then they try to make us care about her by throwing in bits about, her emotional struggles and how she feels. And it's like, it's hard to do that when you're all over the map with her motivations and what she might actually want out of life and the things that she does. I think they were maybe trying to go for self-destructive, but I do think they dropped the ball with Java.
Interesting, yeah. Because
that could have worked. Java could have just been
a
very tragic character who got in her own way because she couldn't let go of, anger and hate or whatever. That could have been something, but I just don't think they nail it.
Oh, that could be such a good journey for Ebony, seeing like...
Yeah, a mirror image of herself.
A mirror image of what happens when you just won't let go and the self-destructive nature. Like, that could have been amazing realization for Ebony. No, we can't have that.
Especially when Ebony even reached a point where she's like, look, I don't want to do this with you anymore. I don't want to. And seeing that she lost both of her sisters in that, like, it could have been great, but Java's a hot mess.
That brings Series 4, Episode 15 to a close. Thank you very much to the panel, and you can show your support by clicking on that like and subscribe and following us on all the major platforms. You can also leave us a comment or get in touch if you'd like to take part in a future episode of the podcast yourself. Just search for thetribe.co.uk or Conversations on Legal Mountain. You can also throw us a donation. Just head on over to buymeacoffee.com/thetribe.co.uk. And we'll see you next time for episode 16. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Techno bars.
Bye.